Do you want to know how much it will cost to rare draft Zendikar? I simulated 100,000 premium draft plays to find it out. You will be surprised by how much more expensive Zendikar is compared to the other sets. Zendikar Rising is a little different from the older sets. In the older sets you used to have 53 rares and 15 mythics, but Zendikar Rising has 64 rares and 20 mythics, so the chance of pulling a mythic in the other sets was 1 in 8, and the chance of pulling a mythic in Zendikar Rising is 1 in 7.4. To understand how much more expensive collecting Zendikar Rising will be, let's first look at how many boosters you need to buy to have all the rares in the set. In the old sets you need to buy about 210 boosters, but in Zendikar Rising you need to buy about 264 boosters. Let's see how much more expensive that is in gems. So if you were to buy the 54 extra packs, that would cost you an extra 10,800 gems. Now that we know the cost for boosters, let's see how we can make a model to calculate the same for rare drafting. So we would need to make a Python model with an accurate tournament model, a representation of every copy of every card picked, so those cards would be added to a list. The rares passed should be added according to a Gaussian curve, and the open rares should be added at random. So I just built a model that conforms to those specifications and generated a dataset. And this is my dataset analysis. This is for 53 rares and 15 mythics, so this is the old data. And I'm doing this so I can compare it with my historic data and see if my model is accurate or not. And looking at the data, it looks really accurate. When I was drafting guilds, War of the Spark, Eldraine, I would usually take like 18, 20, 21 drafts to feel satisfied with the amount of rares I had. So this looks okay. So this is finally the Zendikar Rising data with 100,000 players playing. Most of the players had to play 25 tournaments and spend 17,000 gems to complete the set. And comparing that to old data, we see they had to spend 4,000 more gems and play 6 more tournaments. So back to Zendikar Rising here, you can see the spectre is really large. So the luckiest players will play 22 tournaments, the unluckiest ones will play 30 tournaments. If you are really good in the 65 percentile range, you can expect to play 23 tournaments. And if you're not a very good player, you can expect to play about 27 tournaments before completing the set. I also got this chart to illustrate how much it will cost you. The spectre here is very big again, so if you are really lucky you can complete the set for just 13,000 gems. If you're really unlucky you spend 23,000 gems. Sorry, I just noticed my colors were reversed. So if you're a bad player, you can expect to use 23,000 gems to complete the set, and if you're a really good player, you can expect to use 10,000 gems to complete the set. For gold is pretty much the same statistic. You spend about 112,000 gold, ranging from 150k to 100k. If you're a bad player, you can expect to use about 150k. And if you're a very good player, you can expect to complete the set using only 71k gold. And that's assuming you use your rewards to pay for your next drafts also. We can also look at the amount of games it will take you to complete the set. You can see the spectrum here is really the most important thing, so luck is the main factor here. So you can expect to play anything from 170 games to 130 games. Doesn't really matter how much you win or lose. Boosters will also change a lot depending on how well you play. So if you're a really bad player, you can expect to have way less boosters than if you're a really good player. So someone playing really well will end up with about 160 boosters. Someone playing badly will end up with about 148, 145. And the average player can expect it to have about 154 boosters by the end. That's of course counting with the boosters from Mastery, the store code, and all of the other boosters. I thought looking at the mythic cards would be interesting also. So if you're really unlucky, you can end up the tournament with only one mythic, but that's a population of 1 in 100,000, so that's super unlikely. And on the other hand of the spectrum, if you are super lucky, you can end up with 35 mythics, only 1 in 100,000 also. And it doesn't really matter how well you play, except that if you play well, you can expect to have less mythics because you're playing less games, so you're playing less tournaments. So this is my last correlation. I thought it was interesting. You can see the mythics are kind of like linearly proportional to the amount of tournaments you play. And as you can see, you're spending a lot more money if you're playing more tournaments here. And these are my conclusions. If you are just buying the boosters, it will cost you 10,800 extra gems this time. If you are rare drafting on the premier event, it will cost you about 5,000 gems extra than you're expecting. and still the main determining factor on cost is your luck. If this information was useful to you, please consider subscribing. I'll be posting all of my Zendikar rare drafts in this channel, so you can see me collecting data in real time. And if you just want to see me playing some Jank, I also have a Jank channel. I only have 3 videos right now, but I'll be really glad to have you as a subscriber there also.